found one of his own.
Boy, oh boy, Toby didn't need this to start off his week. This week on Dirt.
The checker's out, and here they come.
It's a new decade of speed, and we're turning them loose. Dirt track gladiators hanging on the edge. Over 30 electrifying speedways, racing into the 90s with a vengeance.
Making a move on the inside lane, skyrocketing his way back up to the #1 position.
Now, this week on Dirt, here's Doug Logan and Andy Fusco.
Hello once again, everybody. Welcome to This Week on Dirt. My name is Doug Logan, and joining me, the senior editor of Stock Car Racing Magazine, Andy Fusco. And Andy, the boys in the back room say this show is going to be a hot one.
Well, if boys are the theme, boy, are we going this week. Lapco goes up to Can-Am. The dirt cars in the Skoll Series goes to Canada. The dirt drivers go asphalt racing at Thompson, and Larry Newberg goes back to the world of outlaws.
All right, great weather and huge crowds greeted the mighty mods at both Granby and Drummond. But there was a nasty little surprise for most of the competitors that dampened their hopes.
Is this the lineup to get into the Sky Dome for a Toronto Blue Jays baseball game? Close, but no cigar. These people are lined up for the Canadian swing of the Skoll Super Dirt Series at its stop at Autodrome Granby. They're going to see this man, Danny Johnson, carrying his old familiar colors. Danny's gone back to the orange number 27J in hopes that it will bring him a little luck. Well, that it did. After Jack Johnson could not make the starting grid, Danny got to start on the pole in the Skoll Super Dirt Series 91 Ladder. There was action all through this event, in particular right at the start of the race. One of the worst times for somebody to spin out, especially at the front of the pack. Toby Tobias gets sideways. Fortunately, he was far up on the cushion, and everybody was able to get by without making contact. Danny and Bob McCready were racing hard for the #1 spot. Meanwhile, Danny had pulled into that top spot right from his pole position. Pat O'Brien in the Sheldon LeGuy #1 had a big block dumped into his car and was running well, and he was actually running better than some of the Skoll regulars. Now, following them is one of Quebec's top runners, Luc Plante, driving the Extend #1. Plante was up on the outside group of the racetrack. He knows this track a lot better than the Skoll regulars, who only get to see it once a year. Plante runs on it every single week. He knows that high side very well. He moved up to a very competitive top 15 finish, along with some of the other regulars, Robert Ranger in the 397 and Marco Potvin in the LP2. Frank Cozy and Kenny Tremont got into it towards the end of the race, and Sammy Rogers made contact. Other drivers were able to get by, but the star of the show this night was the newly colored Danny Johnson.
Yeah, sometimes they say, you change your color, you change your luck. So, I don't know, maybe we got our luck back. Let's see what happens.
In between stops on the Canadian Tour, some of the dirt drivers engaged in a little recreation, some go-kart racing. The kart racing action on this day featured Danny Johnson's crew teaming up against Jeff Hetzler, driver of the Smith Brothers #74.
Well, a little rough out there today, but I think we got it under control.
You got how to drive these things.
I know.
All right?
Not having much asphalt experience, I think we've done well today.
The following night at Drummond, the luck of the orange again shined on Danny Johnson as he started on the outside of the front row alongside pole sitter Sean George's number 15. At the drop of the green flag from the outside, Danny went up to where he had run the night before, right up into the #1 spot. And behind him, there was Brett Hearn and Frank Cozy. However, Hearn pitted on lap number 20. It was a dismal weekend for Hearn, 16th at San Air, 3rd at Granby. At Drummond, he would do no better than 7th after his pit stop. However, Bob McCready was moving up through the field along with Alan Johnson. Johnson moved by Frank Cozy late in the race for 3rd. And we asked Bob McCready after the finish at Drummond, which was the same as the night before, if he felt any deja vu.
Yeah, I told Al and Danny, I said I looked around the, on the start-finish line here last night and it looked like Canandaigua. Tonight it looks like Canandaigua.
Now, could this be the ghost of 1989 coming back to haunt the dirt circuit?
Yeah, I think the color change is going to do Danny well. And did you see his crew bang into Hetzler? I think they've learned their lessons from their driver.
Be authoritative on the track. Larry Newberg hits the Outlaw Trail.
Right after some winners coming up from last weekend's dirt circuit.
This Week on Dirt is brought to you by Budweiser. Nothing beats a Bud. by Sunoco Gasoline, by Ground Round Restaurants, and by Pepsi-Cola.
Dear Jenny, you're so neat. I don't usually pour my heart out like this. I'm mesmerized. Your effervescent charm. My passion for you will never be quenched. I will always thirst for your companionship.
Oh, Jenny, you must feel so special. I feel like a Pepsi.
Relive the magic of Super Dirt Week 90 with 2 official Dirt Motorsports videotapes. Tape number 1, Sammy Swindell outlasts the Wolf in the Ground Round Nationals. The National Auto Supply 358 Championship. Barefoot Bob takes the A+ Winners Classic. And Toby Tobias Jr. burns up the Moody Mile in the non-qualifiers race. Tape number 2, Hearn's strategy pays off in the Miller 300. Now a special television offer, 1 for $14.95, both for $24.95. Include $3 for shipping. Don't miss the action.
We interrupt this program for a Budweiser news update.
Catch Huey Lewis in the News Hard and Play Tour, brought to you by the King of Beers.
Hearn, Hoffman, Barefoot Bob. Each man has won a dirt asphalt challenge event, but can they break the Thompson jinx? Find out Sunday, July 28th, as the Budweiser Dirt Asphalt Challenge takes to the high banks of Thompson Speedway. Thompson, the mini super speedway. The speeds are lightning fast, and sometimes the track bites back. Can the Dirt Warriors conquer the Thompson Arena of Speed? Find out Sunday afternoon, July 28th at noon in the Budweiser Dirt Asphalt Challenge.
Since the World of Outlaws left dirt country, things haven't changed much. Steve Kinzer still has a situation well in hand. Then came Kokomo. Last year, he was upset there. Lightning couldn't strike twice, or could it?
A year ago at this very race, on this very spot, we theorized how quixotic, the impossible dream it was to think that anybody other than Steve Kinzer would win a World of Outlaw race on this track. Yet Joe Gertie pulled it off. So we come here in 1991, and you know what? It seems just as impossible right now, this year standing here, as it did a year ago that anyone other than Steve Kinzer would win the World of Outlaw race here.
You must feel pretty good about coming back here after last year.
Yeah, we did real good in Indiana all last year. I'm looking forward to coming back here and seeing what we can do. We've had a slump in the last couple of weeks, so maybe we can pull it out tonight.
You got to have a little luck going with you to win them. It's like anybody else running short tracks. They're always seems like they're always the toughest to be consistent on. So many things can happen with you. You can get wheels banged up, or just there's always a lot going on in these short tracks. So let's hope we get away with it tonight.
And so the quest began. Qualifying. Steve's first place tonight. His heat race, he wins. The Tom's Dash, Steve Kinzer wins again and will shoot for his 22nd win out of 45 races from the pole. Other heat action shows Weedsports New York's Craig Keel unimpressive here, but he turns this completely around. Even Mark and Randy Kinzer dominated their heat. This must be a Kinzer night. Other heat winners included Ohio's Dave Blaney and Texan Gary Wright. But the main event stacked up the white number 11 against the field. Green, wait a minute, what's this? Cricket, nicknamed after Disney's Jiminy Cricket, believe it or not, Keel has the advantage. Oh, that's just Steve pacing himself. Well, I don't know. Here comes Missouri's Danny Lasowski, who has been assigned the Luna Ford. As the track slickened, traffic became tighter, busier, and passing more difficult. Keel continued to lead. The night's only crash occurred midway when Brooke Tatnell and Mike Mann tangled. Now, on the restart, watch Lasowski in the blue number 10. And guess what? Here is all the closer Steve Kinzer will get to him the rest of this night. In traffic, leader Keel once decided on the conservative route. Wrong choice. Lasowski was now first. Danny, slicing through traffic with daring and skill, was very proficient. Bulldog Kinzer, of course, wouldn't give up. He did overcome Keel for second. but he could not catch Danny, who was having a near flawless race. Several top drivers disputed fourth all race. Steve Smith would win it, Johnny Herrera would finish fifth, and last year's winner, Joe Gertie, sixth. Near the end, Steve Kinzer gave it all he had, but he could not catch the high-flying Lasowski.
Oh, yeah, I had faith in the Ford, and I tell you, I'd like to thank Beverly and Casey Luna and Kenny Woodruff for having faith in me and giving me the opportunity to run this car, and I hope we can do them a good job.
Kokomo is becoming more fantasy than reality. For the second year in a row, it has produced a completely unexpected winner. Me, I'm going to click my heels and go home. There's no way this is the real planet Earth. For This Week on Dirt, I'm Larry Newber.
We're clicking them as well. Is there really a situation where Steve Kinzer just can't win at a racetrack?
I don't think so. I mean, he did finish second. That's pretty good, and that was a heck of an upset. Steve Kinzer doesn't like the heavy tracks. Canandaigua, the last couple of years, he's had trouble. He likes the dry slicks. Kokomo was dry slick, but hey, finishing second, that's not that bad.
No, it's not that bad indeed. On to Can-Am and perhaps the race of the week.
Right after some weekend winners. Stick around.
Well, I think it starts in high school, where we had a very strong coach, Nate Ross, who was renowned throughout the state. And he instilled in us a sense of sportsmanship, teamwork, and discipline. And I think that was the important thing that carried me through college, where I played sports, and on into life.
The Fenway fun of '91 is in full swing for the Red Sox. Fenway is even more fun when you're part of a group, and the Red Sox can accommodate groups of almost any size. Take your group to Fenway to enjoy a day at the ballpark. For information and arrangements for groups of under 40 people, call 617-267-1700. For groups of 40 or more, call 617-262-1915. MasterCard and Visa accepted.
Good luck in Little Rock, guys. These 13-year-olds are members of the New England Mariners Junior Olympic baseball team, and they'll be competing for a national championship next month in Little Rock, Arkansas. Can you or your company help them reach their dream? Invest in our kids in the grand old game. Mail your donation to Box 3129, Beverly, Massachusetts, 01915, or call 617-893-1444.
Burks and a fantastic struck him out, and Henderson slammed the bat.
Turn it off and turn on NESN.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to NESN Sports Desk, the morning edition.
Make the morning the highlight of your day. Join NESN Sports Desk, the morning edition, anytime from 5 to 9 for 15 minutes of scores, highlights, and more. NESN, your ticket to New England sports.
The last couple of weeks have been pretty hectic in the Lape and Fusco households, but all the worry and work sure did pay off. You know, Doug called the Can-Am race the race of the week. Well, hey, just maybe it was the race of the year.
You'll have to excuse the ponderous look on Brett Hearn's face. He's a little worried about the engine in the Freightliner number 6 car as the drivers prepare for another Skoll Super Dirt Series event. He's not alone. Doug Hoffman has concerns because he only has 7 cylinders, and Sheldon LeGuy and Pat O'Brien have discovered that they have an oil leak in the number 1 car. However, Can-Am General Hospital pronounced all cars and drivers fit to compete in what would be an unpredictable and exciting event, the Lapco-promoted Skoll Super Dirt Series 91 contest at the Can-Am International Speedway. Early on in the event, Billy Decker was showing some prowess when Bob McCready went into the pits to get some mud out of the right rear tires. The drivers were having a problem with mud packing up and unbalancing the cars on the very tacky racing surface. Up front, Brett Hearn went into the number 1 spot as he got by Alan Johnson. Billy Decker was coming back up through the field along with Danny Johnson. Again, remember, Danny's in that 27J now and not the Ryan's Express car. Further back through the field, John Strupp and Jimmy Johnson were duking it out. Johnson, remember him from the Al Johnson race, would be a factor later on, along with Pat O'Brien. McCready continued to charge through the back as two more drivers made pit stops to clear mud out of their rims. Jack Johnson and the Hurricanes' Steve Payne. Both drivers would make it back out without losing a lap. On an ensuing restart, the action once again was up at the front of the pack. Now there's McCready working his way through, and there's Alan Johnson retaking the lead from Brett Hearn. Jimmy Johnson was coming strongly through the pack towards the front. He was up working on the 21J of Jeff Trombley with the 1 of Pat O'Brien, and there's McCready not too far behind. McCready's drive was reminiscent of the one he made just a few short weeks ago during the summer starter event up at Can-Am, where he drove from the back to the front. Only this time, he could not get by Jimmy Johnson's number 711. And as Steve Payne was able to move by Danny Johnson for 5th, Bob McCready's race came to an end on lap 61. He was black flagged after rough riding with Jimmy Johnson. Johnson would lose a lap during the altercation. When the green flag came back out, Johnson was still running towards the front, and up front, they were again trading positions, this time Brett Hearn going up in front of Alan Johnson. Payne got by Jim, then set his sights on Brett, as Brett explains.
I just hooked one of the tires on the inside of the track, and it knocked me out of control just for a second, and gave him the shot he needed to get by me.
When the checkers flew, Steve Payne was victorious.
It's real big. It's the second Skoll race I've ever won, and the first one was at Woodhall last year, and they both been Lapco shows, so they've been real good to me so far.
It was a great race. Now, coming up next for Lapco, Wednesday night, a 91-lapper at Woodhall. Now, through 10 races, here's how the Skoll points race stands. Brett Hearn leads the way, then it's Doug Hoffman, Kenny Tremont, there's Steve Payne, Billy Decker, and Danny Johnson.
Moving on to the second 6, Johnny Strupp, Jeff Trombley, Jeff Hetzler, Frank Cozy, Jack Johnson, and Barefoot Bob McCready.
Now, you know, all the dirt stars are going through the toughest part of the Super Dirt Series. They run 5 races in just 9 days. How in the world can they maintain their cars? Jeff Trombley has the answer.
Now, this week's Sunoco High Octane Report.
For this week's Sunoco High Octane Report, we're going to talk to you a little bit about the types of changes that has to be done to the car when we're out on the road at all the different racetracks. When we're out on the road on the Skoll Series, we carry all types of different gear ratios so we can change the gear ratio in a car while we're going to all the different racetracks. We have all different sizes and compound tires we have to take with us to accommodate all the different racing surfaces that we find when we're out on the road. We also have to carry all kinds of spare parts. You carry a spare rear end, spare front end, transmission, shocks, etc., in case there's any repairs that have to be done while we're out on the road. One of the special tools we carry with us when we're out on the road is a set of scales that we use to set the chassis up. These are used usually out in the parking lot of the motel where we're staying, where most of the repairs get done during the week. These are some of the changes we encounter when we're out on the road. For this week's Sunoco High Octane Report and driver of the Altair Audio 21J, I'm Jeff Trombley.
Nothing's too good for my baby. Nothing. So my baby gets very special treatment.
There's a gasoline so special, it even exceeds BMW's detergency standard.
Fill it up. Ultra.
Sunoco Ultra 94. Clean power from the highest octane under the sun. Nothing else can match it.
Nothing.
It's time for the Fuji Points picture. This week, we focus in on the big block tracks along the dirt circuit. Starting out with Orange County, Brett Hearn's the leader, Jeff Hetzler in second place.
On to Lebanon Valley, it's Kenny Tremont, then Jack Cottrell.
And look at the point chase at Fonda. Randy Snyder's the leader. He's got only a 22-point lead over 5th place Pat Ward. Everybody has a shot at the championship.
On to Canandaigua. Look at this. Alan Johnson and Danny Johnson are deadlocked for the top spot. I wonder if they're comparing notes.
A little brotherly love there, I assume. And at Flemington, Doug Hoffman's the leader. Billy Pouch, he got hurt last Saturday night. He's still in the hunt.
And at Cayuga County, Hurricanes, Steve Payne leads the way. Then it's Billy Decker and Kenny Tremont. The Dirt Stars roar on to Thompson.
Right after the weekend wars, as This Week on Dirt continues.
It's my steak place.
Round, round, a great deals.
It's our lunch place.
Ground, round, my ground, round.
It's our favorite place.
Ground, round is the place
It's our family place.
It's our game place.
And you're gonna love our prices.
Super Dirt Week 91 at the New York State Fairgrounds in Syracuse. A week of non-stop action. Saturday, the Ground Round Nationals featuring the World of Outlaws. And the Wheels Discount Auto Store's 358 Championship. Sunday, the richest race on dirt, the Miller 300. Make your vacation plans early.
They don't have race cars in the Caribbean.
Gotta have sprint cars, modifieds, and partying, no doubt.
Don't miss the greatest week on dirt. For information, call 315-834-6606.
Chocolate is scrumptious when it crunches. That's why I love Nestle Crunch. That's why I love Nestle Crunch Crunches.
On Thursday, August 1st, tune in to NESN for Speedway America and catch the best in dirt track motorcycle racing. That's Speedway America, August 1st at 2:30 p.m. here on NESN.
Swing into the sounds of your life. Big band and beautiful music on WPLM, FM 99.1 and AM 1390.
Rumblings on the horizon can mean only one thing. Time for our Weekend Wars.
We begin the Weekend Wars with a weekend wreck from the Orange County Fair Speedway Small Block Division. Jackie Brown inside out on the front stretch. Whammo! In comes the number 53 car, driven by Don Shepard. All right, now back to the regular racing action. The story in the small block division all year has been Brett Hearn. Hearn makes the pass and takes the checker for the small blocks. In the big block feature event, another big wreck. Stan Sherman hits the wall. Jarzembowski makes contact, and everybody piles in, and Billy Wilson almost goes for a rocket ride. That's his number 7, parked in the up direction. Everybody was okay, but there was a lot of twisted metal and a lot of damage after this big wreck. Richie Urich almost got caught in the wreck, but he was able to slip by. And then later on in the race, he slipped under Robbie Green to go on and take his first victory of the year at the Orange County Fair Speedway in the big block division. We now move to the Lebanon Valley Speedway, and on the high banks, the star of the show was Eddie Marshall, driving the ADAP Auto Parts number 72. He got by Bobby Albert on this restart and led the rest of the way to pick up the victory. At Flemington Fair Speedway, Toby Tobias Jr. did not have good luck at all, entering turn 1 in a heat race. Wham! Right into the wall. The car shreds into pieces. Another tough night for Toby Jr. In the feature event, it was Billy Pouch going to the outside of David Graham going into turns 3 and 4. Coming out of turn 4, Pouch has the lead, and Ralph Roos slams the 4th turn guardrail, a place Pouch would get to know later on in the event. Jimmy Horton and Lenny Boyd were moving up through the pack as Graham started to fade. It was Horton going to the inside, Boyd to the outside to make the move. Up towards the front of the pack came Doug Hoffman. Hoffman came by everybody, was challenging Pouch for the number 1 spot. When going into the corner, Hoffman tags the inside wall, and Pouch piles into the wall. Here's the more forceful angle. What a critical hit by Billy Pouch. He was okay. The car was destroyed. Hoffman suffered right front suspension damage. You can see the car sparking up. Coming around the 3rd and 4th turns, Jimmy Horton got down to the inside, and with the white flag waving, Horton made the pass to the inside and went on to take the victory at Flemington. At the Can-Am International Speedway, what a wild finish in the small block modified feature go. Laurent Ladissour got by Pat O'Brien, who had been leading since the drop of the green flag. Coming down into the final 2 corners, Ladissour gets high, trying to avoid a lap car, and there's Pat O'Brien to take advantage, getting down to the inside and taking the victory Saturday night at Can-Am. After a couple of hectic events like that, we move on to Cornwall, where everything seemed to be peaceful and quiet. Well, sort of. Dave Camara tags Billy Coco Vitoiron in the 40 spins, and another car makes contact. Meanwhile, Rapid Rick's rocket ship, driven by Ricky Wilson, was moving up through the field as the leader ran into troubles. Randy Connors then assumed the number 1 spot in the 120. It didn't last long. The Joyceville Jet, Rick Wilson, gets by on the inside and goes on to take the victory. In the Twin 20 Sunday at Cayuga County, Bob McCready took the victory in the first 20-lapper. In the second 20-lapper, lapper, Jumpin' Jack Johnson, who on Saturday night at the Fonda Speedway took over the number 1 spot from Butch Tittle. Then Billy Decker in the Wheels Discount Auto number 91 got by Jack Johnson, and the Franklin Flyer was on the move. Bob McCready drew the number 12 position for the second 20 lapper. He would do no better than 5th. Then Jack, with a power move, comes to the outside of the Franklin Flyer and turns 1 and 2, uses the outside groove, and goes on to take a victory in the second 20 lap feature. There was some pretty hard-hitting action at Canandaigua Saturday night. Mark Morabito in the Sportsman feature piles into the wall very hard. Morabito was okay. In the modified feature go, the Hurricane Steve Payne picked up the victory, and Bob McCready net Dallin Johnson on the final lap. That's the Weekend Wars. I'm Paul Small.
Now, after all that, does one gladiator emerge victorious this week in our nice and easy Driver of the Week?
Well, anybody can survive those crashes, they deserve to be Driver of the Week. But one guy winning 2 races during the midweek Skoll Series deserves it indeed. Danny Johnson, the nice and easy Driver of the Week.
Congratulations to the Orange 27J. Danny receives $200, a special medallion, and is now eligible for the Nice and Easy Driver of the Year award and $1,000. You know, Dirt's 3rd year at Thompson could be the most exciting of them all. With a preview, here's Paul Small.
This Sunday afternoon, the Budweiser Dirt Asphalt Challenge Series moves to the Thompson Speedway in Connecticut. Everybody will be gunning after current high point man on the Budweiser Dirt Asphalt Challenge Trail, Doug Hoffman. Lenny Boyd is second in points, followed by John Strupp, Billy Decker, Mark Fusco, Brett Hearn, Richie Tobias, Frank Cozy, Bob McCready, and Steve Payne. Hoffman offered these comments.
Going into Thompson Speedway, you know, with me running blacktop every Saturday night, I think we have a real big advantage when we go to the blacktop shows. I kind of know what I want, I know what we're looking for, and I like Thompson. It's a big racetrack. I think we have the right type of motor, and especially we have the right race car for that track, and I think that's going to be one of our stronger tracks, Thompson, and along with Cayuga at the end of the year.
The current high point man on the Skoll Super Dirt Series, Brett Hearn, has not had the best of luck at Thompson over the past couple of years, but he will be out in force attempting to gain the victory this year. Last year, he finished in the number 4 spot and was put 1 lap down late in the race by Reggie Ruggiero.
Thompson has been a good track for us as far as finishes, but I really haven't felt like I was competitive there either 2 times that I went there. This time around, I think the car's a little bit better. I think we'll be a little bit more ready with tires, and if we get a chance, we're going to get out this week with the asphalt car one more time before the race, just so that when we get to the track, we'll be ready 100%.
Hearn will have some stiff competition with Hoffman on the roll and many other competitors like Billy Decker, the upstart Mark Fusco, Richie Tobias, and Bob McCready gunning for the victory this Sunday afternoon at the Thompson Speedway.
And after Thompson, the series gets back to dirt. Tuesday, July 30th, Rolling Wheels.
And Wednesday at Woodhull, it'll be Lapco at its racing fastest, July 31st. For Andy Fusco, Doug Logan, thank you for joining us, and so long for now.
This Week on Dirt is brought to you by Budweiser. Nothing beats a Bud.
Big rigs roll.